Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering what sets successful CEOs apart. Writing a book is an awesome way to stand apart. And in this video, I'll share how you can write a great book without having to compromise on your busy life. By the end of this video, you will learn the importance of acting decisively, the power of your message, and how to share that message with the world and grow your audience. And stay tuned until the end of the video for a free opportunity. Let's dive in. Simply put, successful CEOs make the hard decisions. They act decisively. That's not saying they act rashly, and that's not saying that they act without gathering all the information they need. I think it's important to gather material and gather things and different perspectives and think about it. But they take that information and they act on it. They make a decision. I think about one of the people I've worked with who's a business leader and a sports coach, and they talked to me about working with their players and their assistant coaches in making decisions, basketball, and they'll, call a timeout and talk to the team, and get perspectives from other people other than themselves. Their assistant coaches will tell them things, the players will tell them things. And then at the end of this gathering, they will make a decision. Whether it's the right decision or the wrong decision, they make a decision. As a CEO, as a business leader, you have to make tough decisions. You're not always going to make the right decision, and there's lessons to be gained. And if it is the wrong decision, you cut your losses and continue forward in a new direction. But acting decisively is the mark of a great CEO. And it's something that can really instill confidence from every vantage point. This is a leader who is going to follow through. This is a leader who's going to stand behind their actions. This is a leader who's going to do something. I've worked in companies where I will take something to the boss and talk to them, and they don't do anything on it. They sit on it. They don't act. And this moment passes us by. That's a waste. That's a waste, and it creates frustration and lack of trust. This isn't always just about acting. And there could be great reasons not to move forward on something. But acting decisively means gathering the necessary information, proceeding with confidence and clarity. Successful CEOs have vision. Vision is crucial for leadership. You really need to be able to see the headways. You need to be able to see the patterns that are emerging. You really need to understand the bigger picture. What trends are happening in the industry? What direction's everything heading? How can your company succeed in this ever-competitive space? What challenges? A lot of times in planning and in making decisions, companies will go through SWOT analysis. They will go through different analyses to kind of map out the bigger picture, to map out what the path forward looks like, projections for the next coming years. And being able to make those projections and then take the information from those projections and respond accordingly is so important. You go back to the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, and there were so many companies that pivoted, to do other things to fill a need, to help people, and those companies succeeded, and other companies struggled. They wallowed. They, didn't act. They didn't have a bigger picture vision. They didn't see the trends and challenges and opportunities emerging. And because of that, they just kind of waited and waited and waited, and they waited too long. It's important for companies and CEOs specifically to have vision because, ultimately the CEO is like the chief vision officer. This is the person who's looking forward. This is the person who's guiding the course for the company. Every other person has their specific role, but the CEO is really about looking in the future and making this company as good as possible. You think about SWOT analysis of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. All of those things come into play. It's great to be able to gather those things, to have those things as a CEO at your disposal to help you make the right decisions. So it's not enough just to be able to act decisively and set a path. It's also about gathering the right intel, gathering the right information, and recognizing that there are bigger things at play. You can't just sit and watch and wait. This is really about gathering the right information and acting and moving forward with conviction. The companies that I've worked for that have been successful have all understood their message. Every single person in the company knew what the company did, knew what the company did best, knew what the differential was. What makes your company unique? What makes your company stand apart? What makes you as a CEO special? Understanding your message and unlocking it is the power of your story. And if you can unlock the power of your story, it will create so many opportunities for you as a CEO and as a company. And if you can't, all of those opportunities are going to fade away, because this is really about capturing everything. It's capturing the feelings. How does a consumer feel when they engage with your company? How does somebody feel when they buy something from yours? How do consumers feel when they engage with your product? I think about B Corps, and they really are committed to this deeper sense of purpose, environmental and other things that pop up. And it's so special to be able to work with brands that understand that deeper purpose. There's steps that you need to take in order to be a B Corp. It's not just something you can just say you do and then that's it. Like, you actually need to go through steps. And I think it's awesome as a company when we can go through those steps. And it doesn't necessarily mean a special distinction, but it means an understanding. It means coming to the power of your message as a CEO and as a company of how you can help transform somebody's life, how you can help make somebody's life better, how the people that engage with you are getting high value in return. It's not just you're taking money and you're giving them something. This isn't a transactional process. This is about something deeper. It's about sharing something deeper and getting everybody inside and outside your company to feel that deeper sense of purpose. When I think of purpose, I think of somebody I worked with on a book named John, and John's company is devoted to helping people with disabilities to get work, to get awesome work, to get jobs that they're really proud of, and to help them feel empowered. The company actually serves as a conduit to help other companies be better about hiring people with challenges and disabilities. So it's not just empowering the people who work in the company, it's empowering the people outside of the company, the people that engage with the company. It's empowering and challenging other companies to be better at what they do. It's an awesome thing to see the impact that one person, that one company can have. And it's great to be able to build that sense of purpose in your stakeholders, in the people inside and outside of your company, that they believe in this the way that you do. And as a CEO, your job is to be able to share and build that message and to strengthen it and to challenge it and to make it as good as it can be, and then to share with the world. And one of the best ways for you to share that message with the world is writing a book. I happen to work with lots and lots of CEOs and thought leaders. And the CEOs specifically, it's really empowering to work with them, because a lot of times when I engage with them and we start having conversations, they already know what their message is. They already know what they want to say because they've spent all this time building their brand, understanding their message, understanding what makes their company unique and special and different. And I just love that. I love the fact that they can come into this with this perspective in mind, and a book then can help them strengthen and galvanize that sense of purpose, that they are now putting this in writing. This isn't just a business card they can hand out to people. This is a book. It sends a message, it tells a story, and it provides a deeper sense of purpose so somebody can engage with your company in a new way, in a deeper way, in a different way. When you think about writing a book and selling a book, a lot of times when I work with clients as a ghostwriter, they focus on book sales as the be-all and end-all of success. The metric of success that they think about is book sales. I challenge them to think differently. I challenge them to think on a one-to-one level of having an impact, and you can have such a deeper impact and drive the bottom line when you have an underlying sales funnel connected to the book. So it's not just you selling a copy of the book, it's you giving away copies of the book, and then people signing up to work with your company, to be a coaching client, to be a customer, to sign up for high-level services that cost lots of money. And this isn't just about like ripping people off or scamming them into some high-value process. This is about giving them value and empowering them to live their best life through your story and your message. Your company's story matters and it resonates. And it's great to be able to put that kind of message into a book and to carry it forward with you. It's a personal branding for yourself and your company. And it's just so special to be able to collect that story that way, to tell the story that way. Where do you share the message of your company and of you as a CEO? The struggles that you faced, the ups and downs you faced. A lot of times when CEOs work with me, they want to just tell the nice things. They want to just tell the great stories, the stories of success. But I urge them to really lean into their vulnerabilities. When we start a company, when we become a CEO, it's a scary process. There's a lot of things at stake, and there's a lot of things that are on your shoulders. It's a unique process. It's a scary process, but it's an empowering process. And when you get to the opposite side of that, when you can drive the company forward past the ups and downs, through the struggles, through the challenges, and find yourself on the other side, that's a powerful message. It's a great message to be able to put into a book and to share it and to be able to give it out to people. This isn't always just about selling a bunch of copies. It's about having an impact and making an impact with your story. Your story is going to resonate and your story really matters. And I really think it's important for you to think about working with somebody to help you write it, to help you bring it forward. In most cases when I work with the CEO, it's typically as a ghostwriter. And ghostwriters can cost a little bit more. Typically as a starting point, I start at $25,000 to $30,000 for a book. Some ghostwriters can go up to $100,000 or more. But think of the rewards. If you are signing up 4 clients or 5 clients at $10,000 each, that's $50,000. You've already paid for it in the span of 5 clients. So the benefit is huge. And I just think there's so much opportunity with a book that you don't have otherwise. I think back to one of my clients, and he works in the tech space as a CEO. And I worked on the book with him and another executive in the company. And we all met every week for an hour. And it was awesome to map out the story. It was awesome for him to really hammer home his credentials in the industry, in the space, and to set this vision for the company, set this path forward for the company. The company had a lot of strength in the space and was building some great connections, and they could lean on these business relationships they have with outside companies in the book. And it was a great lead magnet for speeches for the CEO. The CEO can go to speeches now and hand out a book and present this vision of the company to people. This is the entryway. This is the way that people are going to engage with them. And how powerful to be able to hand somebody a book and to sign it and to say, here you go, here's my message. It's a much more powerful thing than handing them a business card and hoping they don't throw it away or that it doesn't get lost in their change drawer, their wallet area, wherever they put their wallet at the end of the day, where they clear out their wallet and eventually come across your business card. No, you're going to hand them a book and say, here's my book. And it's an awesome book, and it's an inspiring book, and it sets your leadership path forward, and it sets your company forward. And it tells everybody that you're thinking big and that you're a company that's built to succeed, that you're a company that's driving forward, and that you are somebody that is worth watching and worth doing business with. It sends a message that you get things done. I mean, you wrote a book. And the great thing about working with a ghostwriter is that you can write a book with literally an hour a week of your time, for 3 to 6 months. Think about 12 hours of your time to writing an awesome book. That's not that much time. And think about all the rewards. A book is such a great opportunity, and it's empowering for me to be able to help CEOs, take that step in their journey as the CEO to watch, as the company to watch. It's just such an awesome thing. So if you're interested in learning more about setting yourself apart as a CEO, Go to my website, goodghostwriter.com. You can click the link below, and there you can book a one-on-one free strategy call with me. We can talk about your story. We can talk about your CEO vision. We can talk about your success and how to bring that forward in book form. You know, how to drive this story forward and share a message that's going to resonate and going to take you to the next level. Remember, good ghostwriting makes great books. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.